previously during the investigation.
These puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome to Greenwood. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zach? My coffee warned me about it.
Zach, is there something here that you want to check out? They told us to be there before 2100, but don't worry about that. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Speaking of 80s movies, one jewel in the rough springs to mind. Deadly Spawn. Do you remember that one, Zach?
Back in '83, directed by Douglas McCann. Right, it was filmed pretty cheap, but still it was pretty good. The monster design with the mouth crammed full of teeth, I loved it. So many delicious B-movie cliches. Did you know that they made a sequel? But I never got to see the sequel. The rental store didn't have it for some reason. They said the staff for the sequel was totally different from the original. Wonder how the sequel turned out. You know, the monster in that one responded to sound.
Wait, Zach. Sounds a lot like the movie Tremors.
I think that one was back in '89, directed by Ron Underwood. Now, that was a great role for Kevin Bacon. Masterpiece.
Zach, that one had sequels like crazy. I remember there was a fourth one. I've only seen the first one, though.
This flower. There's something very mesmerizing about it. I wonder what it's called. I'll take one with me and ask someone later. Tremors. I think Fred Ward was in it. You say Fred Ward, and I say Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. That one was back in '85, I think. Directed by Guy Hamilton. Guess Hamilton was aiming to start a series like 007, but it had no sequels. A real shame. Do you remember the martial arts they used in that film? Called Sinanju? The ultimate in martial arts, using no weapons at all. Remo's Master Chun ran across water, remember? And he loved the soap operas. Man, that was a good character. He was played by Joel Grey, the best supporting actor in Cabaret. Of course, in Remo, he had so much makeup on you couldn't tell.
Try to go in by yourself.
Oh, George. I didn't see you in the parking lot, so I thought I'd wait inside.
Just watching from now on. I don't like inconsiderate people who think that they're above the rules. And I'm sure I've made this point clear by now.
Calm down, George. He probably just got lost on his way here and rushed in. Right, Agent York? Let's go inside then. Hello, Sheriff.
Hi there, Fiona. We're here to see Usha. Do you know where he is?
I think Dr. Johnson is in the computer room.
A computer room? In a hospital?
Nice to meet you, Mr. FBI agent. The computer room is where our employees share a computer.
Very nice to meet you, too. I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. But how did you know I was FBI?
Easy. None of the police in this town wear cologne. Besides, that scar on your face is the biggest rumor in town.
Rumors get exaggerated as they spread, even in the countryside.
What's that you're reading, if I may ask?
You haven't heard of this yet? It's a recent bestseller mystery. It's set in the U.S., a small traditional North American town close to the Canadian border. A peaceful, traditional place. However, that peaceful town is shattered by a terrible crime. The murder of a local girl. And that incident causes grief and sadness to everyone in town. but everyone feels the seditious, heinous evil still lurking, alive. Yes, much like the situation right now here in Greenvale.
Fiona, don't say that.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. With Anna dead and all.
Don't worry. Books are written to entertain. It's good you're enjoying it. What we're faced with here is a terrible crime committed in a real world. Much different from that of a novel. So there's no need to apologize.
Thank you, Agent York. We couldn't find him.
Fiona needs to check her information.
No, I don't think so. Does the doctor like playing games by any chance?
What do you mean?
There's a message on the computer, and a card key already set in place. The king passes the rook and meets the bishop. The knight takes a pawn along for the queen.
What does that all mean?
It's a simple puzzle.
Zach, let's take him up on his challenge. You can do this, right? Zach, something is still missing. We need more clues. Zach, something is still missing. We need more clues.
The doctor awaits below with the deceased.
Another code? But there's nowhere to insert a password.
More games. I'm going to get Fiona to call Usha up here right now.
No need, George. The message appeared with the card key. It's telling us where to use it.
This is not the time to be joking around, Agent Morgan.
Dr. Usha is below with the deceased. With Anna. Below being underground, I take it. Simple. Simple. Then it's time to meet the mischievous architect of this little game.
Nah. Usha, sorry to keep you waiting.
Ah, you made it. Let's get started, shall we?
This is Agent Morgan from the FBI.
Nice to meet you. I'm Usha Johnson, the doctor in this hospital.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. Everyone calls me that.
Very well, Agent York.
Are you a forensic practitioner?
Let's just say I've dealt with corpses before.
That battle of wits, by the way. Did you create that yourself?
I just wanted to see if our FBI agent could handle the task.
I see. Well, it was pretty fun.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
We don't have much time. We need those autopsy results.
Next time, try challenging us without obstructing an investigation. You've angered the monarch.
From the onset of rigor mortis, the stiffening of the muscles, the time of death is estimated to be between 20 and 2200 hours. That's still quite early for such a crime to take place. Note that there are 2 exterior wounds, pressure marks around the neck, and a long cut running from chest to abdomen. Blood marks on her right hand tell us she was gripping something round in her right hand. Her skull is also fractured, but that is unrelated to the cause of death. It probably happened to her after she was killed. Now, I first thought death by suffocation due to the marks on her neck, but after further investigation, I now have a different conclusion. The direct cause of death was loss of blood from the wound.
Which means...
She was cut up while she was still alive.
Yes, a sharp knife was used. It was inserted beneath the sternum and then quickly sliced downwards. The excessive loss of blood from her internal organs is what actually killed her. Her nails are clean, and with no skin cells from the attacker. She also doesn't appear to have been bound nor badly beaten. She was apparently killed without resistance. The most tragic thing, however, was that she was unable to speak her story to anyone who could hear her cries.
The perpetrator cut out Anna's tongue.
Well, I believe she was drugged first to phase her consciousness, and then the killer killed her. Now, the killer most likely has a deep, traumatized past concerning women. He probably cannot converse with them normally. cutting out the tongue suggests a very lonely individual. Either that or a truly hardcore sadist. He must get off on watching women suffer, especially when they can't answer back. He watched as the blood pumped from her body, as she gradually grew cold. A case in Seattle in 1985 was much like...
Usha, please, limit your report to your findings as a doctor. Criminal profiling is my job. You're wrong, also. Anna died fully, deeply, painfully aware of what was happening to her.
But,
Tell me, what time did it stop raining on the night Anna was killed?
Just before I went to bed, right after the movie on TV ended, so around 1 a.m.
What movie was it?
An American Werewolf in London.
Directed by John Landis, 1981. So the rain stopped, accompanied by the ending song, Blue Moon. George, would you mind if I examined Anna myself?
What more do you hope to find?
I'm sure I mentioned that I have a personal interest in cases like these. From her lack of resistance, I'd say that Anna's injuries happened very quickly. Unable to speak, she was then left to cry herself to death.
Zach, it's all starting to come together.
The perpetrator stayed with her for at least 2 hours until it stopped raining. At the estimated time of her death, it was still raining, but you can still see tear marks on her cheeks. That means she was killed under a roof somewhere. She was then carried into the woods after it stopped raining.
There's one other thing. Her tongue was removed with a very blunt knife. In fact, it's more likely it was simply chopped off.
Asha, are you a passionate man?
Well, not particularly, but I am man enough should the moment call for it.
George, how about you?
I'm very passionate. Yes. Especially when it comes to women. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
George, the perpetrator is just like you. He's passionate about women. He's a passionate kisser. This was a kiss of death.
The perpetrator bit off Anna's tongue.
We'll never get a dental print from a wound like this. But this is still a big lead.
Jackpot, Zach. A shame, but our old-time all-American sightseeing tour just came to an end.
This case is now under the jurisdiction of the FBI. I'm assuming command. I'll need you to assist me in the investigation.
What in the hell do you mean, Agent Morgan? I know I said I was passionate, but you can't think I did this.
That's not why I'm assuming command, George. You're a suspect just as much as every other passionate man on Earth. Let me show you something. There you go. Amazing, huh? I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but most of the details are top secret. George, Emily, we should be going. No need to stay here any longer.
Okay. I have to sign the release. Just give me a moment.
Very well. I'll go on ahead. I can't take it any longer down here. Bishop takes queen. His rook takes your queen. Then your knight takes rook. And checkmate.
Huh?
My first victory in the Grandmaster ranking.
Zach, they're here. Yes. Great. Bullseye.
Here! Over here!
Huh?
Nice shot.
Agent Morgan, if you're so desperate, then why not smoke two at once?
Who's that old man?
That's Harry Stewart. One of the bigger problems around here. His father started up the lumber trade and founded this town. But he's a weird one, as I'm sure you can see. Always dressed like that, never speaking to the townsfolk. And just FYI, he owns almost the entire town. Not that that makes any difference. So long as I'm around, he won't be getting away with any funny business.
Mr. Francis York Morgan, haste won't lead you to what you seek. Keep your eyes focused on your footing as we speak. So says Mr. Stewart.
Nice to meet you, too. How did you know my name?
Mr. Francis York Morgan, information desires you, just as you desire information too. So says Mr. Stewart.
Harry, stop trying to get in our way. Keep this up, and even you'll have to answer to the law.
Mr. Francis York Morgan, with each rain our town goes mad. To our disdain, unpreventable. So sad. So says Mr. Stewart.
Thanks for the warning.
Then we shall depart, Mr. Francis York Morgan.
That's how he always is. Always spouting that nonsense. Don't give it any thought. It's all gibberish.
Emily here. Uh-huh. Oh. Okay, thank you, Thomas. Agent York, we've contacted the first witnesses to the crime scene. You can interview them where they found the dead body.
Excellent. I was just about to ask if you could take me there.
The body was found in the Greenvale Forest Park. That's west from here, and too far to walk.
A forest park?
It's the pride of the town. It has a beautiful trail leading to a viewing site over Velvet Falls.
That does sound fantastic. Show me the sights.
That may have to wait. We promised to be there by 1800 to interview the first witnesses to the crime scene.
Zach, we need to get to Greenvale Forest Park. It's apparently quite a distance, so check the map. Joel Gray's daughter is, of course, that's Jennifer Grey. You knew that, right, Zach?
Jennifer Grey. She's in one of my most favorite movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, directed by John Hughes. That one was so 80s.
Zach, you're not the most cheerful guy I know, but you really do like those cheerful movies.
We used to love those teenage movies back then, didn't we? Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink, St. Elmo's Fire, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That last one was in 1982, directed by Amy Heckerling. Now that was an impressive film. You've got Sean Penn in the lead, with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Phoebe Cates, not to mention Nicolas Cage and Forrest Whitaker were in it too. And the original book and the script were written by Cameron Crowe. How could that not be a great film?
Do you remember, Zach?
When that movie ended, the last words, "the end," was from an arcade game. That's right, it was from Missile Command. That stuck in my head for a while. The memories. I feel like I have a lot of movies to catch up on. Let's just hope we can get to the end of this case soon. Then maybe we can catch up on a few.
Give some thought about what movie you want to see next, Zach. Zach, is there something here that you want to check out?
Well, just do as you please. We can head to the forest later.
Zach, we need to get to Greenvale Forest Park. It's apparently quite a distance, so check the map. Okay, Zach. I've been thinking about what movie I'd like to watch next. And finally, I've made a decision.
It's always hard to narrow it down just to one movie, but I've put a lot of thought into this, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. 1975. Directed by Steven Spielberg himself. The grandfather of panic movies. Set in a small town in Massachusetts. That movie made me stay away from the beach for years. I was always afraid that a hand might come floating up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah? It's Jaws. The underwater camera work accompanied by that John Williams music. I'd never been that scared by a movie before. But the best thing about it is that it isn't just another panic movie. The mayor who won't close the beach even when there are so many victims. Chief Brody putting the citizens' lives above all else. The film gave a lot of time to the dispute and friction between them. It certainly had a lot of messages for a 2-hour film. That's probably another reason why it was such a record-breaking hit. One of my regrets in life is that I didn't see it at the movie theater. I guess I was still just a child back then. But still, I wanted to taste that terror in real time.
That reminds me, Zach. Did you know this one?
Jaws also appears in another movie that was produced by Spielberg, the second Back to the Future. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who later made Forrest Gump. That's also a
Zach, we'll finish our chat later. Let's take a walk around here. Zach, we need to get to Greenvale Forest Park. It's apparently quite a distance, so check the map. Zach, picking up from where we left off. Okay, Zach, I've been thinking about what movie I'd like to watch next. And finally, I've made a decision.
It's always hard to narrow it down just to one movie, but I've put a lot of thought into this, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. 1975. Directed by Steven Spielberg himself. The grandfather of panic movies. Set in a small town in Massachusetts. That movie made me stay away from the beach for years. I was always afraid that a hand might come floating up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah? It's Jaws. The underwater camera work accompanied by that John Williams music.
Zach, we'll finish our chat later. Let's take a walk around here.
Hey, I'm working here. You can't just stroll into a chef's kitchen.
Then perhaps you would give me your permission to enter.
No, get the hell out of here.
Zach, everyone has their own sanctuary. Let's leave him in his. FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. And you are?
Olivia. Olivia Cormack.
Olivia. Now that's a lovely name.
Do you think so? You're the only one who's ever said that other than my father and Nick.
Oh, it's a very good name. You should be proud of it. There's that famous singer, too, isn't there? From the 70s? She's actually from England, but she's got this really strong image of being an American pop singer.
Huh?
That's it. Olivia Newton-John. You know of her, right? She's not only a successful singer, she's successful as an actress, too. Personally, I really liked Xanadu back in 1980. She played a cute fairy and just looked amazingly stunning. It's hard to believe she was 32 at the time. Right, Zach?
Sorry, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Really? That's a shame. You should watch it when you get a chance. You'll learn to love your name.
Oh, okay.
So, Olivia, do you know anything about Anna that might be helpful to me?
Oh, she was a bright and lovely girl. I can't believe she...
Did she ever look worried or anxious?
No, not really. I can't believe it, really. I'm never going to see her again, am I? She was here with us, so happy and energetic just a few days ago. And she and I, we were getting all excited over some new dessert.
Thank you, then. If you remember anything else, let me know.
Hi there.
Zach, we need to get to Greenvale Forest Park. It's apparently quite a distance, so check the map. Zach, picking up from where we left off. Okay, Zach, I've been thinking about what movie I'd like to watch next. And finally, I've made a decision.
It's always hard to narrow it down just to one movie, but I've put a lot of thought into this, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. 1975. Directed by Steven Spielberg himself. The grandfather of panic movies. Set in a small town in Massachusetts. That movie made me stay away from the beach for years. I was always afraid that a hand might come floating up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah? It's Jaws. The underwater camera work accompanied by that John Williams music. I'd never been that scared by a movie before. But the best thing about it is that it isn't just another panic movie. The mayor who won't close the beach even when there are so many victims. Chief Brody putting the citizens' lives above all else. The film gave a lot of time to the dispute and friction between them. It certainly had a lot of messages for a 2-hour film. That's probably another reason why it was such a record-breaking hit. One of my regrets in life is that I didn't see it at the movie theater. I guess I was still just a child back then. But still, I wanted to taste that terror in real time.
That reminds me, Zach. Did you know this one?
Jaws also appears in another movie that was produced by Spielberg, the second Back to the Future. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who later made Forrest Gump. That's also a masterpiece, of course, but we'll discuss that another time. So the scene where Jaws appears is right after Marty McFly goes 30 years into the future. He passes by a movie theater and is attacked by a holographic shark. Marty is shocked, of course, but looking closer, he sees the words, Jaws Part 19. The director is credited as Steven Spielberg Jr. In reality, there were actually only 4 Jaws movies. It was still a great joke. 30 years from 1985 would be 2015. We'll be there pretty soon.
I wonder what life would be like by then, Zach.
To come here, and you keep us waiting. Is this the way the FBI treats their own people?
Hello, George. I just had some things I had to do.
You really are pushing it, you know that?
I'm sorry if I upset you, but it was important stuff. To me, at least.
That isn't the issue here. We are in the middle of a homicide investigation.
He's not listening, George. I think we both know by now how little he thinks of other people's feelings.
I'll be more careful from now on. I promise. I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. It's what everyone calls me. And you are Jim Green?
That I am, son. I keep these woods.
Well, you're doing a fine job.
Well, I used to be a tree surgeon.
And these two discovered the body?
Yes, my grandchildren, Isaac and Isaiah.
Zach, you see that? Twins. Just like in my dream. We gotta keep an eye on these two.
I'm sorry. Could we talk away from the boys? I want to help your investigation, but I don't want them to hear this.
Very well. Emily, please.
I'll just take them over there then.
Thank you.
Hold on. Don't do anything without asking me. These children were the first to witness the crime scene. I want to talk to them.
Come on, they're just kids. They have no idea what really happened to Anna.
That doesn't matter. You agree with me, right, Zach?
How heartless. Do you ever think of other people's feelings, ever?
Emily's right. That's stone cold, even for the sake of investigation.
Children see things in pure, simple terms. They may have seen something we adults would never spot, and they are here at our request as well. We could at least chat with them and see if they want to make a statement.
Are you serious?
I never joke about matters like this.
Oh my God.
Don't worry. They aren't as fragile as you think. Look at them, standing so upright there. Now then, Isaac, Isaiah, tell me, What did you find here?
Anna, she was so pretty.
She had a red dress on.
Her hair was shining.
Bright gold hair.
There were lots of animals around her.
Squirrel, weasel, and a snake. A real snake.
We didn't know until then.
But we know now.
Anna was the fairy of the forest.
She was a goddess.
She smiled when she saw us.
She looked so happy.
That's right, Isaiah. She was a fairy. A goddess. I'm sure she is playing with those animals even now.
Of course she is.
Yeah, of course.
Most useful information, boys. Well, Emily, you can take them now. Okay, Zach. This is where Anna's body was. And that means our unsub, our unknown subject, was here too. So, what happened here? Zach, something is still missing. We need more clues.
As you requested, we have permission to stay and look around as needed. But what are you planning on doing?
To examine the scene, of course. Basic crime investigation 101. We might uncover some further evidence.
My men have covered this already. I seriously doubt that there is anything else to find.
Well, then you and Emily can wait. Yes, but I'll take my time. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. It's upside down. I guess this is meant to be an anti-peace sentiment then.
These holes on the ground were made by high stiletto heels all around here. And this depression here, Agent Morgan, I see what happened here. He hung her from the tree and put on her shoes. He was really enjoying it. A sicko. He knelt down and disgusting.
George, you certainly have a vivid imagination. An interesting theory, don't you think, Zach? What was his name again? That Hollywood producer. That's right, Joel. We really ought to introduce George to him, Zach. Profiling is a little different from writing a screenplay, though. An idea being interesting doesn't make it fact. Let me enlighten you, George. The footprints reveal that one of the heels were missing from the shoes. And they're different from Anna's shoes that we saw at the office. Furthermore, there would be even more disgusting evidence if he did kneel and, well, do as you suggested. If you want proof, go ahead and try it for yourself. He knelt here for a reason other than simple perversion. Zach, what was he doing in front of Anna? Just like the twins said, she was a goddess. The unsung, or unknown subject, offered prayers to Anna's body. Its big mouth, tongue, massive body wound. Once dead, Anna was transformed from an object of despite into one of worship. So is Miss Stiletto Heels. The steps are close coming up to the body, and then farther apart going away.
There was a reason to hurry away then.
That settles it then, George. Miss Stiletto Heels is a third party here. She's not the murderer. No one runs away from an object of worship. She could be another victim who was with Anna. Or perhaps an accomplice who fled for some reason. She is also one who took whatever it was Anna was holding on to in her hand.
But why? Why did she leave her here?
Only Miss Stiletto Heels knows the reason for that. She might know something about the man with the reversed peace mark, too. How many women wear high stiletto heels in this town, do you think?
Oh, I should think most of them have at least one pair. I do too, before you ask. But nobody would come all the way out here wearing them, except maybe one person.
Don't keep me in the dark, then. Who might this elegant lady be?
Diane, the owner of the art gallery. But she's out of town for a big art auction. I heard she'll be coming back in a couple days.
Then we'll just have to give her a warm welcome home. A more immediate matter, then. Where in town can you find something like this? It should be a building that isn't used anymore, with either a lot of metal or metal machinery or something like that.
The old lumber mill.
Then it's time to really get this show on the road. Could you guide me to this perfect setting for extravagant murder?
Is pretty far from here. If that's where she was killed, why would the killer go to all the trouble of carrying her all the way here?
I don't know yet. My profiling instincts tell me one thing is for sure, though. The unsub's personality is totally different before and after the crime. The unsub killed her in a brutal, horrifying way, and then displays powerful adoration after she's dead. Something close to love. That could well be the key to all this. I will say this, though, George. Profiling is a risky business. Of course, if the unsub planted those stiletto footprints himself, well then, everything I've just said falls apart. But there's no evidence that he left those stiletto footprints. I'm sure we have Miss Stiletto Heels to thank for those tracks. All I can do is deduce the unsub's feelings in light of the evidence, and carefully figure the unsub's MO, modus operandi, his way of thinking. It usually unveils something that a normal forensic analysis may overlook. That's my way of profiling. It's not for everyone, but it works for me.
First joined the force, this lumber mill was still in full swing.
It closed up right when I first moved here.
And now it's totally abandoned.
I presume so. I've never really been inside, so I don't know for sure, but it sure is run down.
Deserted buildings are perfect for criminal hideouts and activities. I keep telling Harry to have the place torn down.
Probably a little bit. After all, it's already been used as the site of Anna's murder.
We don't know that for sure yet, Agent Morgan.
That's right, from your point of view. But the perpetrator selected the lumber mill.
Agent York, you seem very confident about this.
Confident? confidence is a sweet spot between being rude and hopeless. I'm just drawing natural conclusions from the facts that we have seen.
That sounds exactly like being full of confidence, at least to me. And to normal people with common sense.
Common sense can be the opposite of fact sometimes. Bear that in mind.
Oh, I will, Agent York. Thank you for another pearl of wisdom.
Either way, we'll know for sure by simply going to the lumber mill. So keep your pearls of wisdom to yourself, and let's hurry.
Well said, George. Can you step on it, Agent York?
Go and find out if your facts can be trusted.
You're full of confidence, right? Let's get to the lumber mill.
I'm going in alone. You two stay here. I can't concentrate on profiling with other people around me.
Now hold on a minute. We're investigating this case together.
Listen, I can't risk the crime scene being compromised by you two.
What are you saying? You're not the only professional law enforcement officer here, Agent Morgan. We know how to secure a crime scene.
I'm sorry. That was rude. But this is how I operate. Furthermore...
Yes? Furthermore what?
To me, the outsider FBI agent, every citizen of this town is a suspect. You two could be in on this whole thing for all I know. I have to keep suspects out of the crime scene.
How can you say such a thing? Is he making fun of us? We should have left him behind and come here by ourselves.
You're right. I've never been so insulted.
Sorry, but I'm just doing my job. that, Zach? If they're pros, then we should let every first-person shooter gamer out there join the SWAT team. Zach, they're here. Just as I thought, Zach. This is where Anna was killed. Too much noise. We're still missing a vital piece of the puzzle. Zach, it's almost like an altar. Was the murder some kind of ritual?